Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2025. Ta-da! We're on the other side.
We are.
Yesterday, we might have gotten together, but things were a little hectic for a lot of people or a little sleepy for a lot of people, depending on. So we thought we'd give that first day sort of everybody a chance to settle in. And we kick off, much as we mean to move forward into 2025, with Snow Approach Foundation and Positive Approach to Care coming together to work on this idea of radically changing the experience people have when they're living with dementia. And whether they're living with dementia, meaning that they themselves have brain changes, or the people around them are living with the changes and trying to figure out how to be supportive, how to give better care. And our mornings are going to be short and tight, and we are going to keep them tight. And they're based on, okay, now this for those of you who may not be as familiar with us as other groups, is a question mark. They're based on curiosity. They're based on questions. And where we get the questions is from the people in our community, people who ask questions. And it turns out, with me, by the way, I'm Teepa Snow. I should sort of say that, I guess, because some of you might be tuning in for the first time. I am the founder and executive director for Positive Approach to Care and a co-founder for the Snow Approach Foundation, a nonprofit in Hillsborough, North Carolina. And with me is Matthew Christopher. And Matthew, a little bit about you.
Yeah, so Matthew Christopher, I actually, before I got to join the Positive Approach to Care team, worked for like over 15 years in physical therapy, and by many things got connected with Teepa, and now the director of communication in our outreach hub in Positive Approach to Care. And so I get an opportunity to do a lot of awesome stuff out there to outreach to you all.
Yeah. So what Matthew is doing is something that's new in 2025. We are using a platform we have not used previously, except for once we tried it out in a webinar, and it's called SteamYard. And what it allows us to StreamYard, not Steam, StreamYard. And what's cool about StreamYard is that it allows you to go to at least 3 platforms at the same time and broadcast live. It used to be we could only pick one, and the one we usually used was Facebook. And then Matthew would post up on Instagram and other platforms, YouTube, that sort of thing. So Matthew, this morning, which of those platforms are we broadcasting live on?
So Teepa, right now we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on LinkedIn at the same time. So wow.
So we're live on all 3, and yeah. Matthew will then post up on whatever we miss, because we have lots of places and spaces that people find us. What we're going to do briefly today, and it's going to be real short, is I'm going to go over what are the kind of questions we're going to be answering here. Well, they tend to be what questions, how questions, why questions, who questions, where questions, when questions, related to the brain changes that come with a neurodegenerative condition. And whether or not what we're seeing is that, or whether it might be something else, or whether what we're looking at is actually a reflection of what our frustration is, our challenge. So today, for example, I'll do a very quick little one, which is, so is dementia mostly for people over the age of 75 or 80? And the answer is, well, that's a tough one, because if we're saying who is the most likely to develop a dementia, then the answer is yes. As we age, our risk of developing a dementia goes up fairly dramatically, somewhere around the ballpark of 75 to 80. But it doesn't mean that's the only group we should be interested in. And as I said, one of the who's that we want to address is, even if I'm not the one who has the change in me, I would say if I'm trying to support someone who's having brain changes that I've never had in my life before, and this person has never had them in their life before, or maybe they have, but they've been the helper, not the receiver of support and aid, well, then I'd say both of us are living with this thing we call dementia. Now, that being said, there are also forms of dementia that are much more likely to occur in a younger person, somewhere maybe in the neighborhood of 45 to 75. And that could be something more like a frontal temporal dementia, maybe something that's impacting someone because of previous head injuries or maybe because of other health conditions that they have. That also leads us to a second dementia that can happen to much younger people called vascular dementia, which is a unique kind of impact on the brain, which means your brain isn't actually where it's starting. It's the blood vessels, the blood supply to your brain that's being impacted. And that's how it's kicking off as brain changes. And then we have Lewy body, which can span across. And we have so many other dementias that we can and will talk about over the course of the year. In fact, there are some dementias that can affect children at birth or in adolescence. And so we do see some very young people with dementia, and we see some very old people with dementia. And the one word you haven't heard me use is the one most people talk about when they talk about these things, which is Alzheimer's. And the reason I choose not to use it a lot is it gets misused too often. And Alzheimer's is a type of dementia, and it probably is the most common. And yet, what we're finding out is even among old individuals, what we have more often is TDP43 involvement in one way or another. And there's a variety of those that they're discovering and have discovered in about the last 5 years. So there you go, an answer to a question. Now, what I might do along the way is I might reference some articles that I've read or some resources that we have. So we have what's called resource cards. And if you want to take a look at that, we can show you where on our website you can do that, because our goal is to share information and to build things. We also have podcasts that are available readily, and you can access those. But at any point, if you're not sure and you're going, but I didn't catch all that, you can get up with us at info@teepasnow.com or snowapproach.org. Either way, you can get up with us and we'll be able to sort of guide a little bit to get you where you want to go, get you the information you're looking for. So that's today. Matthew, any final words before we head out? I imagine people might be responding. I'm not sure because I'm on the end where I'm not looking at stuff other than you and I.
Yeah. Well, and again, going back to this idea of it being totally new for us to use this on multiple channels. And I see huge thank you. There are people who are commenting on the different channels, and I am seeing folks' comments on here. And so please continue to comment. Let us know, because this is another way you could communicate with us as well. Teepa brought up some great ways for you to reach out to us by using those emails. But we also realize that sometimes people use the comment threads. And so we are monitoring those comment threads. And so that is another place that you can let us know what you'd like to see more of, or what your questions are, so that we can support you all, because we're here for you all. We're here to help support everybody we can.
Yeah. So we will either be doing a live broadcast or a recorded broadcast 3 times a week. And we will share a little more about the details as we move forward. After we figure out, did this work? Is this a good strategy? Or do we need to modify something? We know that with change comes change, and we'll use our pipes and our 5 Ps. We'll talk about that another day. But till next time, take care with your care and take care of yourself. Thanks, everybody.